So good morning, everybody, from heartbroken Israel. We are all devastated here, have woken up to another nightmarish day of bad news and continuing fighting down in the south. Announcements about funerals and stories of young people who have lost their lives only because they went to a rave party. And that was their only crime. And so here we are together, my family and I. We're at home, not allowed to leave the house. And, you know, we're very far from the war zone or from any danger. You can see on the map that was part of our sukkah, which is still up. We are in Harish, which is just south of Haifa. Gaza is very far away from where we are. We've just heard a siren recently, just a little bit further down, nearby to us, and this was the first time, so none of us are 100% out of the danger, and we don't know if any of these terrorists have managed to make their way up north or are hiding out. They were, you know, we know now that they have these strategic abilities, and we're not taking anything for granted. So we're all at home. Schools are closed, daycares are closed, a lot of businesses are closed. You know, we live here up in Harish. You can see the village just across the hill is Palestine. That is Kafin, Palestinian village. Just in front of it, you probably will be able to make out the security wall. And it's been quiet. We've lived here for 5 years. There have been no incidents, but now, today, we don't know. Maybe there's something going on that we don't know about. We pray and hope that it'll continue to be safe here, just across from our own boundaries. So Emunah is busy. A lot of our projects are closed, but daycare staff are in touch with the families and children. Our children's homes are open partially, except for Neve Landi, where getting to the campus is dangerous at the moment because, once again, the roads in the south are still, some of them impassable because nobody knows. There's still battles going on very close to the Gaza Strip. And I've been sending messages out to all the people who I know in the area and friends, people who may be in the army. One of our Emunah graduates from Afula, Vadim, had just wrote to me that he's in Yudan Shomron at the moment, was just called up. We only had dinner with him on Thursday night at a restaurant in Zichron Yaakov, and now here he is in the army and defending us. Rabbi Sharon Shalom, who many of you are familiar with, wrote to me this morning in response to a message that I sent him yesterday. He lives in Kiryat Gat, which is in the south. I asked how he was, and he wrote back after a day apologizing for not responding immediately. Can you believe, apologizing? Because Sharon is a bereavement notification officer in the IDF, and he has been busy notifying families, telling them about their children and their relatives and their loved ones who have they lost. And he was at the Re'im Kibbutz in the field where the party took place on Friday night, and he says that things that he has seen in that field, in that area, resemble and are worse than things that he saw in the Sudan when he was walking as a child, walking to make Aliyah to Israel, walking from Ethiopia to the Sudan, where they had tragedies, where they were murdered and robbed. He says things that he's seen in that field yesterday are worse than anything that he saw there. The tragedy will unfold. The stories will be told. There were a lot of heroic stories. Emunah, unfortunately, already has contact with tragedy. We lost a therapist. We've now lost a madrich, one of our counselors from Neve Landi, was unfortunately killed with his father in Ofakim during Shabbat. murdered by these terrorists, what can I say, animals, heartless animals who came in and butchered children, babies, young people with absolutely no discrimination. Many Jews and non-Jews, mainly Jews of course, but non-Jews as well, Arabs, Bedouin, have been killed in this incident. Heroic army personnel, policemen, and Emunah has a fair share of our own staff and graduates who are serving at the moment and protecting us. And we send our prayers to the soldiers for their safe return home. We send our condolences to families who have lost their loved ones. We send our prayers once again and our good wishes to all of those who are recovering, some of whom are in critical condition in hospitals in Israel. And our needs are going to be many. In our counseling centers, we expect to need thousands of hours of therapy, whether it will be somebody, a child who hid under the bed for 10, 12, 16 hours in a safe room while the father held onto the door until his fingers were blue, and didn't know whether they would survive, hearing Arabic outside and hearing shots, people who don't know to this moment what has happened to their children. Are they in Gaza? Are they no longer with us? And the reality is just going to be unbelievable. We're going to need to support so many thousands of people in our counseling centers and in our children's homes, in our schools. Girls will come back to school. They will need to be counseled. We're going to need a lot of equipment, games and toys and sports equipment to keep the children busy during what we hope will be a short but effective war, to make sure that this never happens again. So this is quite a long video, I realize. I thank you very much for being with us, for staying with us, for supporting us. I received literally hundreds of messages, people asking if we're okay. And personally, we're okay. I don't have any children in the reserve, but we all know somebody who doesn't know where their child is, or has a child in hospital, or even worse, we know people who have lost their loved ones. So Am Yisrael Chai, and we will keep the updates coming as we know more.